Hey everybody, it's Mike with Inflatable Boarder, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Gili Sports Komodo 11-foot hybrid inflatable paddleboard and kayak. The Komodo 11 is Gili Sports' newest model and is designed to be used as a hybrid paddleboard and kayak. While it shares a name with the Komodo 10.6 Cruiser, the Komodo 11 has a very different feature set and performance characteristics. The Komodo 11 is a great option for newer paddlers who want the option to SUP or kayak in a single package, especially if bringing along a passenger or pet. The Komodo 11 uses Gili's standard iSUP construction with a 6-inch knitted drop stitch core, dual layer fusion PVC material for the deck and the hull of the board, and a double layer glued rail system that also incorporates seam reinforcement strips, all made of reinforced PVC. Altogether, and after the Komodo has all of its features added on, it does weigh in at 26 pounds, which is a moderate weight for a board of this size, but it is 5 pounds heavier than the specified weight. In our bin test, the Komodo 11 did moderately well, and when inflated to its maximum 15 psi, it bent just over 1.4 inches with 170 pounds placed in the standing area. This is slightly more rigid than our current running average of over 100 inflatable paddleboards tested. On the water, the Komodo 11 feels very rigid when standing and paddling normally, though there is some slight flex when paddling hard during a sprint. Bouncing on the board generated a moderate amount of flex, but the Komodo 11 settled back down very smoothly and calmly once I stopped. The Komodo 11 takes on more of an all-around paddleboard shape compared to the slightly smaller Komodo 10.6 Cruiser. The Komodo 11 is 11 feet long, 32.5 inches wide, and 6 inches thick, and it has a carrying capacity of 410 pounds. Now the Komodo 11 did measure about a ½ inch narrower than the specified 33-inch width. However, unless you're comparing the Komodo 11 side by side with a 33-inch board, you aren't likely to feel any difference in stability. The Komodo 11 has a broad nose and tail, allowing it to stay very wide through most of the board's length. This gives it excellent stability and a consistent feel no matter where you're standing on the board. It also makes the Komodo 11 very comfortable to hold on its edge, and it has a smooth and consistent feel as you rock the board from side to side or move around. Walking to and standing on the tail is quite easy, and the Komodo 11 comfortably lifts the nose and spins around with confidence for pivot turns. The full-length deck pad also means that you have excellent comfort and traction throughout the entire length of the board, which makes it a great option for paddling with passengers and pets. The Komodo 11 has an all-around moderate speed compared with other inflatable paddleboards, but it does cruise very comfortably and efficiently. In our sprinting speed test, I was able to maintain an average sprinting speed of around 5.1 miles per hour, and I reached a peak speed of 5.4 miles per hour. There was a small amount of flex in the Komodo 11 while I was sprinting, but I don't feel it was enough to actually affect its performance. I do feel though that the larger, heavier paddle blade was more difficult to use at a high paddling cadence. While the sprinting speeds were about average for the Komodo 11, it did cruise very comfortably and makes a great option for paddling longer distance or for longer periods of time. At a more comfortable pace of around 25 strokes per minute, I was able to paddle the Komodo 11 at a very brisk 3.4 miles per hour without much effort. With each paddle stroke, the Komodo 11 travels around 19 feet before it slows down, and that gives it a gliding ratio of about 1.7 board lengths per stroke. That is a bit more than average for an all-around paddleboard, and the Komodo 11 does feel very smooth and efficient while you're paddling at this cruising pace. As an all-around paddleboard, the Komodo 11 does a good job of blending both maneuverability and tracking, but it does favor tracking performance more than agility. In our maneuverability stress test, the Komodo 11 needed an average of 7.25 forward sweep strokes to make a complete 360-degree turn from a standstill. However, when going backward, it takes only 4 reverse sweep strokes to make the same 360-degree turn. And while it wasn't the fastest turning paddleboard in our stress test, I did find it was easy to turn the Komodo 11 in smaller increments up to about 90 degrees, and of course more advanced turning strokes do turn the board much faster. When heading off for a longer paddle, the Komodo 11 does a great job of moving in a straight line. In our tracking stress test, we found the Komodo 11 only deviated an average of about 10 degrees after 10 paddle strokes on a single side. This is really good for an all-around paddleboard and is actually starting to near the threshold that we see in touring-style paddleboards. Part of the reason for the Komodo 11's maneuverability and tracking performance is due to its 2+1 fin setup and its inclusion of a larger touring-style fin for that center fin box. With all three of its fins installed, the Komodo 11 does favor tracking more than maneuverability. However, by removing the side fins, you can balance that out a little bit more. Or if you are paddling in shallower waters where you want more maneuverability, Gili does offer shorter fins in both 5 and 3-inch lengths to give you more agility and the ability to paddle in very shallow water. The Komodo 11 takes being an all-around paddleboard to an extreme level. Not only do you find all of the features you'd expect to see on a modern all-around board, but it builds on that with the addition of some new features. Starting with the core features, the Komodo 11 has a large front cargo area that can easily hold large or even extra large dry bags. The rear cargo area is sizable as well, and both use removable bungee cords. There are a total of 18 D-rings on the Komodo 11, including the nose anchor D-ring and the leash D-ring. There are also 3 threaded accessory mounting points for things like phone, camera, or fishing rod holders, and a set of Velcro paddle holders on the right side of the board. And where the Komodo 11 begins to go above and beyond your typical all-around paddleboard is with the full-length deck pad that features a logo embossed and grooved texture through almost all of the board, and then a diamond texture at the rear of the board for additional traction. But the newest feature on the Komodo 11 is the introduction of a series of tie-down points that run the length of the board on each side. These tie-down points can be used for strapping down large items like coolers or other cargo. You can move the bungee cords to any of these different points, and you can set up and adjust the included kayak seat anywhere on the board. The Komodo 11 does come as a complete paddleboard kit, but it also comes with a bit more than that. In addition to the board, you also get the fins, leash, pump, and repair kit, a 3-piece paddle with an additional blade for kayak conversion, a kayak seat, a seat riser block, and an inflatable foot brace. Now, all of this fits into the included wheeled carrying backpack. Now, Gili does also include one more item with the purchase of your Komodo 11 foot, and that is a donation of over $600 worth of supplies to a local dog rescue of your choosing, courtesy of Max and Neo, a pet supply company founded on the idea of giving first, not as an afterthought. The Komodo 11 does include Gili's 3-piece carbon fiber nylon hybrid paddle. The paddle shaft is made with carbon fiber, as is the handle section and the handle itself. Now, there is a height scale on the back of the handle section you can use to easily set the height. However, there is no indexing, so each time you adjust the length, you do want to make sure that the handle grip is aligned with the paddle blade. The paddle blade is made with a fiber-reinforced nylon material, and it does have a large teardrop shape. Now, with the larger, heavier paddle blade, this paddle can feel a little bit unbalanced or a little bit heavy when you're trying to paddle very quickly with a fast cadence, but for casual paddling, it does feel very nice. Now, one other thing with this paddle is you can remove the handle section and replace it with the included extra paddle blade to turn this into a double-bladed paddle for kayaking. And with that, it's time to look at the Komodo 11 and how it performs as a kayak. And it is very similar to how it performs as a stand-up paddleboard. It favors tracking over maneuverability, and it has great stability. Converting the Komodo 11 into a kayak is relatively easy. Simply place the kayak seat where you want it on the board using either the dedicated D-rings or any of the tie-down loops. Place the seat riser pad under the seat before tightening down all of the straps. The seat riser helps keep your hips in a more ergonomic and comfortable position while you're seated. Then inflate and place the foot brace a few feet in front of your seat. You may need to experiment with the exact placement. You do want your knees to be bent slightly so that you can press against the brace while paddling. Remove the handle from the SUP paddle and insert the second blade. And while you can't adjust the length of the paddle for kayaking, you can adjust the feather angle. And this allows you to more comfortably paddle in the wind and can alleviate wrist strain when aligned correctly. The biggest con I've found with this system is the seat riser pad. I found it a little bit fiddly to get into place and to keep it there while going to sit on the board. Additionally, if you do capsize your board, the pad is not connected to the seat or the board in any way, so there is a good chance that that riser pad will come out and separate from the board. It would be nice to see Gili include a Velcro strip with the seat and the pad to prevent this from happening, but that's also a very easy addition to make on your own. While paddling the Komodo 11 as a kayak, I didn't have any issues with handling or stability. The paddle blades work best with a more aggressive high-angle paddle style rather than a more relaxed low-angle paddle style because of their large symmetrical shape. I would recommend getting a set of drip rings to add to the paddle if you plan on frequently using it as a kayak. This helps keep some of the water from dripping on you or on the board while you're paddling. While it's not going to compete with a high-performance sit-in kayak, the Komodo 11 does make an excellent hybrid option for those who want the ability to paddleboard or kayak using the same craft. The Gili Komodo 11 hybrid paddleboard and kayak is essentially an all-around paddleboard on steroids. Not only is it stable and user-friendly, even for beginner paddlers, but it performs well in the water as both a SUP and a kayak. As a turnkey solution for both paddleboarding and kayaking, the Komodo 11 is one of the most versatile options available. And with a very reasonable price point and the inclusion of a large donation to your local favorite dog rescue, the Komodo 11 offers a fantastic value. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've answered all of your questions about the Gili Komodo 11-foot hybrid paddleboard and kayak. If I did miss something or you do still have questions, please let us know in the comments below. If you've liked this video or found it helpful at all, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future video content. In the video description below, you'll find a link to the full written review for the Komodo 11, as well as all of Gili's other paddle boards and dozens of others at InflatableBoarder.com. And if you are interested in purchasing the Gili 11 hybrid paddleboard kayak, then we'd appreciate it if you'd use the link in our video description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support our YouTube channel and bring you more SUP content. Thanks for watching, don't forget your PFD, and happy paddling!